Ever since we have created the wheel, humans have been trying to one-up each other on inventions ever since. Though we've made some pretty great things, there are some other inventions we created where I really gotta be scratching my head because I'm wondering why. And I mean, it's not like it's unforeseen. I mean, we've had around 117 billion humans walk on this planet. Not at the same time, but I'm saying like historically speaking. So it's bound to happen. Someone's gonna mess up. It's just, for some reason, it has to be that one guy that has to mess it up for everyone. You know what I'm saying? It has to be that one person that has to lower the IQ in the room he is placed in around with 10 other people. And that same sentiment holds true when it comes to inventing stuff. Now, we've made some great things, beautiful things that we use every single day in order to actually exist on this dimensional plane we call life. But on the other hand of that creativity and innovation, we have some very questionable designs, and I'm about to go through it with y'all. Let's first start off with the poster child that I put on this thumbnail for this video, the umbrella drone. Now, that thumbnail is as true as it's gonna get, which is kind of rare nowadays because YouTube creators want to, lie to their viewers before clicking on the video. That thing is actually $1,700. Is the umbrella made of some sort of special fabric that just hasn't been discovered by mankind? No. Is the drone anything different? The only thing that is different about the drone is that it is powered by GPS. So it follows wherever your phone's GPS is, right? But my issue is the thing only runs for 30 minutes and it's $1,700. Like, does no one else see an issue here where you're basically getting snubbed? What if for some reason, if you're walking down the street in a public busy area and it's raining, what if some snot-nosed deodorant lacking kid decides, hey man, you know what? I feel like being a problem today, and just literally pimp slaps it out of the air, and then the thing's gonna be just dysfunctional the entire time, trying to find its way back. It's like when a bee leaves its hive and it's trying to find where its beehive is, but it can't. It needs to use the sun or something, and it has to go through a whole mental race to figure out where he's at. Like, it's not gonna work. And unless you have an underlying bone deficiency, I feel like holding up an umbrella is not a hard task to do. The worst you're gonna get is maybe like a gust of wind kind of blows through the rain and you might gonna be struggling. But imagine the drone struggling against the wind. What is it gonna do when it gets blown away? And unless the parts used to construct the drone are not outsourced from Wakanda, there's no reason that thing should be $1,700 for an inconvenient fix. Next up, we have the Nokia N-Gage. This thing looks like if Nokia had a miscarriage. Built in 2003, which was like during the time when technology was kind of like, spiking up and stuff. They made this to rival the Game Boy. And at the same time, it was trying to be a phone and a console, which I don't really think we need, to be honest. Like, you could just be one or the other. I don't really think y'all need, you're doing too much trying to be both. But at the same time though, it did have a bunch of games on there. They had everything from Asphalt to the first Call of Duty to Worm World's Party. Man, we've come a long way. Next up, the Kazoo, the interracial breed between a vape pen and a kazoo. I'm not really sure what you can really do with this besides what is advertised. I mean, I guess as you're losing your ability to breathe, I guess you can also, dabble into the music world a little bit by using a kazoo as you were vaping. Yeah, I don't know. This dude must have been on something as he was making this. All right, another useless invention, the bread slicing machine. Is what is exactly as it sounds like. The machine slices the bread for you. If you're too lazy to use a butter knife and just go ham on your bread, I mean, you can use this machine, which again, this is just another inconvenience. I feel like with every invention we make, I feel like we are getting lazier and lazier. Like, it's just like this pit, right? And as we jump into the pit, it's more like an iceberg actually, like just how lazy can we get with our inventions when it's not necessary, like the drone, for example. I mean, if you really need a drone to get through rain and stuff, I feel like you shouldn't really be just outside in general. I feel like the world's too scary for you at that point. And on top of that, we have a bread slicing machine, which most bread anyway comes sliced before you get it, unless it's not packaged, and maybe not. The shake weight. Back in like the 1950s, the fitness industry in America had like this obsession with shaking your body to lose body fat, and I guess this product tried to, ride that wave that's been long gone. Like, I'm talking about 30 to 40 years late. Not even 40 years. My math is off. It's just longer. But point is, whenever someone's using it, you just can't help but think that the person using it in front of you is probably not training their muscles for the right reasons. Like, look at that. That stuff looks dirty. I just cannot see any person being in that type of position. Like, when are you ever gonna have your hands positioned like this and you just pulling something? What else can you really be pulling? Just think, without being dirty minded, just think, what are you gonna be pulling with that certain hand motion? The human mind is limitless when it comes to the imagination. I can only really think of 2 to 3 scenarios, and 2 of them are not family friendly and I might get demonetized. I think Congress should pass a bill saying that whenever you as the bystander see someone using this product, you should be allowed to blindside that dude immediately, like Gronkowski the homie. Pop-up advertisements. The person that made it doesn't even like it, so you know this stuff sucks. And I just don't get why whenever I want to see an article about something I'm interested about, right, I should not have the sudden urge to get an ad blocker because there's 3 of them popping up as I'm scrolling through this entire article or website. It makes no sense. Google, you do not fool me easily. I do not believe there's 20 single hot babes in my area. Next, we have Terrence Howard. I think it counts as an invention. I mean, this guy, whenever I go back and watch Kung Fu Panda 1 and Master Uguay's on top of that hill talking to Shifu about how there's no accidents, I look at this dude and realize he's a contradiction of what that dude said. 268,000 followers on Twitter. And you're telling me this guy has the platform and just the right to say that 1 times 1 is 2. To all the upcoming 3rd graders here, let me, spit some game at y'all. 1 times itself. 1. Meaning, okay, let's go through a little scenario. If a mango costs $1 each and I buy 1, would you want to know what the total is? I am multiplying the 1, which is the dollar in question, and then the how many times I bought the item, which is 1. And you know what the total is going to be? Not 2, Terrence Deshaun Howard. No. It is going to be 1. If I end up going to a store and I buy 1 item, and for some reason, if it was $1, unless the sales tax is somehow 100% of the original cost, I am being scammed, Terrence. And then you had this dude go on a campaign to Uganda to try to sell these guys the idea that he's going to make aircraft vehicles that run on hydrogen.
What we need is just a fertile ground in which to build this. Now, this is the geometry of hydrogen. Of hydrogen. Hydrogen.
Yes, Ugandan official, hydrogen. And we're laughing now, but you guys have to realize there's people out there that actually believe this stuff. These competent, now turned incompetent individuals really believe what this guy is saying is factual. Do you know how sickeningly scary that is? I think what's worse than Terrence Howard is diet water. The thought that was conceived into a Japanese company that thought that was a great idea, water that has no calories to begin with, is now being packaged in this nicely wrapped bottle as a drink that has no calories when it didn't even have it initially. It's like when Plankton was like ripping open like the safe in the Krusty Krab and he just kept going until it was down to the last molecule. Like, you don't need it, like, just straight up. A snowball maker. Now, it's not in the way you're thinking. It's not a snow machine where it creates snow. I'm talking about this handheld gadget that scoops up the snow for you and it creates a snowball, like an almost symmetrical circle. And I'm just thinking to myself, it kind of takes the fun out of having a snowball fight in the first place. Why do you need a machine that is going to crack, not even a machine, just like 2 spoons that you're scooping together to create this like great machine that's able to create snowballs for you on the fly, when it is just as easy to scoop a bunch of like snow around you, kind of like, mold it into how you wish to be throwing it, which is a ball, I presume, and then you just chuck that thing, send that stuff flying. Why is that for some reason more difficult to see than just having a literal spoon, a double-headed spoon to make snow? That makes no sense. A DVD rewinder. Again, this was also during the time when the Nokia N-Gage was also out, so they're trying to like understand technology, like what could you do and not do. And yeah, you don't need to rewind DVDs, guys. That's not necessary. Luckily, it discontinued, so whoever has it now is like a kind of like a novelty type of thing. But just, you don't need to rewind the thing. They didn't know this then, but we know now. You don't need to rewind DVDs, but they still had it anyway. I don't know what they was thinking. I guess maybe because VHSs had to be rewinded, so maybe you could like, do the same thing with DVD, but it doesn't need to. So yeah, that's a the banana slicer. Okay, look, guys, Some things just don't need to be innovated. We don't need to renovate even more when we have just done all we can. We do not need a gadget that can just slice the thing for you when you can do it yourself with a literal knife. Why are we so like, you're trying to create something we don't need to create? Why do we do this? Y'all ever heard the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? That's the phrase. That is what can be applied right there. We don't need new stuff. Sometimes we should be content with what we have. I think that's the big message here. Because if we don't, we get stuff like the solar powered cigarette lighter. It is in your pocket the entire time until you pull it out. Why is it solar powered? I can't do this anymore. No, this is, yeah, no. See y'all next week, man. Thank you guys for watching. Man, why do we just make stuff we don't need? We don't need it. Nah, I'm out.